Right, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. We start slightly late today, but for today, we are going to finish our final topic, topic number 7. Share with you the slide for a while. Right, so the topic number 7 is about the future of the fintech. Okay, bear with me. Some of the section is actually summary from what we've discussed before in the earlier topics, but obviously I'm going to focus more on the certain sections, whereby the sections that we haven't discussed yet, okay? Um, Especially when we talk about one of the future of fintech, especially from Malaysian perspective, whereby the growth of Islamic fintech especially, okay? But before we go to that area, let me brief you the content that we're going to discuss. All right, so we're going to start with the introduction, obviously, and then we're going to go through the future of financial services. Okay, bear with me, the typo, double SS kat situ. All right, and then we have the bank tech, bank technology. Okay, and the last one is Islamic fintech. Okay, and we're going to wrap up with the summary and conclusion at the end. Okay. So as an introduction, fintech, as you all know, the financial technology, we've discussed it throughout the semester, okay? And fintech is not a trend whereby we just is gonna accept as fintech as a trend that will come and go, but it will, I can say, it will be here to stay, at least, I don't know, for a near future. Okay, and it will transform our our behavior in terms of how we use finance and financial services in general, and how this fintech will reshape the global financial ecosystem. And over the past few decades, fintech innovations have broken traditional barriers, okay, whereby we shift from the traditional way of doing things relating to, again, financial services, where we already implement some of the services that become norms to us now, okay, becoming new norms, okay, whereby it become more accessible, even faster, more efficient, and try to be inclusive to everybody. And remember the terms, the underserved or underbanked, all right, groups of people now can be included part of the financial inclusion program. Okay, so these are among the evolving landscape in terms of number one, the paradigm shift for the financial systems, the integration of technologies, um, whereby the traditional financial services or traditional even banks, institutions have to keep up with the technologies, and they themselves have to evolve and offer this kind of products in order to compete with all the digital only institutions. Okay, so we have startups and all the relevant and the traditional financial institutions have to adopt with the fintech solutions, okay, to remain in business basically, okay, and to address the the demand of the customers nowadays, okay, whereby customers expect some transactions to be faster, more efficient, less less red tape, less process, so that everything can be faster. So this is the paradigm shift that we're gonna see. Okay, we are already seeing it now, and we're gonna see more innovations, more short-term processes in the near future. Okay, and we can see it on daily basis even. Okay, and the driving forces behind innovation, obviously, the technologies behind it, including AIs, blockchain, and quantum computing. Okay, this one we discussed pretty much in detail in the previous topics. Okay, and these innovations, these technologies enhances the processes that I mentioned earlier. Okay, sustainability and inclusivity also becoming more prominent nowadays. Okay, even before the fintech, with the introductions of ESG, SDGs, right, whereby the sustainability is becoming, something that we have to comply with. We have to report on annual basis, especially when we talk about companies. Even in an annual report, they have sections whereby they have to report on the sustainability. Even, public agencies, including universities, also have to have sustainability, programs as part of their so-called initiatives. Right, even for example, here in UPSI, in universities, we have greenometers or green metrics, whereby how universities, help in terms of reducing so-called or how to make sure that universities have these sustainable initiatives part of their programs. For example, here in university in UPSI, for example, you can see that the university implement the usage of solars, for example. Okay, so that is actually one of the initiatives to reduce the usage of, for example, electricity, whereby we generate energies using solars. Okay, and when we talk about finance or financial technology, or even financial in general, when we talk about sustainability, one of the areas would be sustainable finance, whereby the universities or even the institutions out there have to have the alternative for using sustainable finance, whereby banks, for example, will prefer institutions or prefer to fund initiatives that focusing more on climate change, reducing the global dependency on old energies, okay, and focusing more on new energies, solar, using winds, for example, all right, and EVs, okay, whereby banks maybe giving more focus on electrical, vehicles, for example. So those are part of sustainable finance. And by leveraging mobile technology and digital platform, fintech has extended financial services again to the unbanked or the underbanked populations. Okay. And then in terms of the challenges and opportunities, obviously fintech presents a vast opportunities. Okay. However, at the same time, the most common challenges throughout the topics that we've discussed before, in terms of the regulatory compliance and also data privacy concerns, together the ones that we've discussed just before this, which regards to cybersecurity threats, okay, from the previous topic. So therefore, the evolution of fintech requires collaborative effort among all the agencies, including the governments, the industry, the financial institutions, and also the providers of the technology, to ensure that the ecosystem to be secure and always to be innovative in the future. Okay, so this would be what would be the outlook. Okay, right. Let's look at the future of the financial services. Okay, so the future of financial services is being reimagined as emerging technologies and innovative business model to disrupt traditional financial landscapes. Right? We cannot expect that the digital or the financial technology or the fintech to replace the traditional institutions straight away. Okay, and in fact, I believe that the introduction of fintech is actually not to abolish the traditional banks, for example, but they are actually to complement, okay, to ensure that again, one of the main areas that fintech can tackle is the underbanked and unbanked populations, whereby the traditional bank cannot cater. Okay, that's number one. And obviously, by the introduction of fintech, they keep up the competition, and therefore both will try to come up with innovation or innovative ways how to enhance the services to the customers. So this transformation is characterized by the groundbreaking advancement and shift towards more inclusive, efficient, and sustainable practices. So this one, I think the ones that we've discussed in terms of how to transform the landscapes, the innovations in leading the changes, okay, especially in the introduction of DeFi later on, the decentralized finance that leverage on the blockchain technologies, okay, whereby it eliminate all the middlemen, the intermediaries, okay, so therefore they can reduce the costs, okay, and reduce the charges to the customer. So both ways to those with surplus and deficit units. Okay. Impact the areas of wealth management. Okay, the introduction of robo advisors we've discussed before when we talk about robo advising, whereby we have platforms like Wahid, for example, that becoming more prominent in wealth management. Insurance, okay, perhaps we haven't discussed a lot about tax insurance, so perhaps I'm going to focus on the insurance area when we talk about transformation of financial landscapes. Okay, so for this section, I'm going to focus more on tech later on, whereby the insurance or even takaful industry is embracing the digital transformation. Okay, and the last one is remittance. So we've discussed this in topic number 2 when we talk about digital payments and remittance before, whereby fintech offers faster cross-border payments, cheaper and more secure methods of transferring monies from one country to another. Okay. All right, so this one repeated. So next we have the projections of open finance and embedded finance. Okay, we've discussed this before. And again, the issue is about compliance and cyber security as well. Right, as I mentioned, for this section, I'm going to talk about InsurTech or insurance technology. Okay, it refers to the application of technology for innovation and improvement of the insurance together with the takaful industry. Okay, because in Malaysia, similar like banks, insurance and takaful run side by side, parallel, whereby both offers in terms of protections. Okay, protections to the holders. Okay, so the core objectives include enhancing customer experience, streamlining processes, and also try to reducing the cost. And similar like banks, InsurTech leverage technologies such as AI, big data, and so on. Okay, this one is quite similar like the financial institutions, especially when we talk about digital banks. Okay, and if we have digital banks like GX banks, Eon Bank, for example, later on when we talk about InsurTechs, we're gonna see that there are some insurance company who are doing technology now. Okay, so the model that we look at is the digital transformation, whereby we have this digital onboarding, automated policy applications and renewal. I've mentioned before when I was in the UK, whereby I have the opportunity to have one policy for car insurance, and the company is purely 100% digital. And we have that similar model now in Malaysia as well. We know that the traditional insurance company like Etika, like Zurich, like what else? AIA, we have Great Eastern. So those are so-called traditional insurance company. But nowadays, we have the digital forms of insurance company, right? Whereby they have the policy application, everything's done online. Okay, and we have UBI as well, usage-based insurance, whereby policies customized based on real-time data, especially, for example, when we talk about car insurance, They're going to measure how, in terms of your behavior, how long is your distance, your health metrics, and so on, whereby they will calculate based on that data and give policies, and you have to pay according to that data. Okay, as compared to traditional ones, whereby they're relying more on your address, more on your occupations. Okay, so now they are looking more on the usage based policy. Okay, and they use AI powered as well to ensure that the claim processing to be much faster and try to avoid any fraud detection, or and try to avoid any fraud lah, basically. Okay, when we talk about traditional insurance or even traditional takaful, the processing can takes a while. Okay, they have to send adjusters to make some estimation what will be the total loss, okay, of an accident, for example, what will be the market value of the car, how bad the accidents cause towards the car, okay, what kind of uh, impact the car, in terms of which areas kena tukar, the door, the front, the engine and whatnot. So they have to send an adjuster, and adjuster ni akan buat estimations. Okay. Okay, the total cost of the breakdown is X amount of ringgit. Okay, and it will take, like I said, if not days, it can take weeks to process. Okay, so by having this AI powered, they can ultimately try to reduce the transactions to be much faster. And again, they can try to detect any attempt on fraud, because again, insurance are quite synonyms with whereby people make false claims. Okay, so this AI can help to reduce the cost, or the detections of fraud attempts by the fraudsters lah. Okay, so the transition towards customer-centric models driven by the mobile apps and also the online platforms. So when we talk about InsurTech in Malaysia, so we also have this digital transformation, especially by the rising numbers of smartphone users and the internet access, internet becoming cheaper and cheaper. And nowadays, most of mobile trying to give almost free, not free lah, I mean unlimited data even, maybe at a certain threshold of monthly payments. Okay, and the government push for digitalization through policies like financial sector blueprint also increased the takers for insurance technology in Malaysia. So here are some of the digital only, okay, insurtech players. We have Policy Street, a digital insurance platform offering affordable and tailored insurance plan. Okay, Visual Life provide micro insurance and subscription-based insurance services. And we have Fatberry, a comparison. Okay, for Fatberry, it's more like comparison platforms lah, enabling customers to find the best deals. Okay, just like iMoney or Ringgit Plus, whereby you can compare savings account, financings for cars or for loans. Okay, so Fatberry will compare for insurance primarily. Okay, and even though the rising numbers of mobile penetration, internet penetration, but when we talk about insurance in Malaysia, we have a lot more, okay, Malaysians who are uninsured or underinsured, whereby people don't subscribe to the ideas of having insurance. Okay, especially people with the lower income groups, or even people in the rural areas, whereby they don't subscribe, or they don't believe in having insurance or takaful for Muslims. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of markets there to be explored. Okay, so this is one of the challenges, not only for InsurTech, we are talking about insurance in general. Okay, the insurance industry in general. So a lot more Malaysians who are considered uninsured or underinsured. Okay, so this is one of the challenge that the InsurTech has to explore how to tap in this market. Okay, digital literacy gap in terms of limited understanding of digital platforms among certain segments, as I mentioned, especially the older generations might have these issues in terms of digital literacy gaps. Regulatory compliance, complex regulation while adopting new technologies. And one of the main issues is actually the trust, okay, whereby customers might have some skepticism when we talk about digital-only platforms, whether this company can be, can be there for the next 5, 10 years. You never know. So this is where the trust issues still exists in the community when we talk about digital only platforms. Not only insurance technology, we talk about banks as well, the digital only banks. Okay, so perhaps this is where the traditional institutions, regardless banks or insurance, have to step up and give the digital alternative to the customers. Okay, who especially the younger ones, the younger generations who prefer these digital initiatives as compared to the traditional products and services. Okay, so this is another issue for the InsurTech. Okay, so Policy Street, for example, when we talk about their method and their approach, whereby they partners with companies like Grab to offer tailored insurance products, especially for gig workers. Okay, and they use AI to recommend the best policies. I'm not sure for Touch and Go. Let's browse Touch and Go for a while. They have insurance as well. So for example, for Touch and Go, okay, the partners is AIA, Allianz, and Etika. Oh, there's a lot more. And they have, together with Takaful, we have MSIG, Takaful Ikhlas, Takaful Malaysia, and Zurich Takaful. So they have plenty of insurance and Takaful partners when we talk about Touch and Go. But for Policy Street, they partners with Grab. Okay, so for Visual Life, they're pioneering the subscription-based insurance in Malaysia, offering flexibility and affordability. I'm not sure how cheap is cheap and how affordable will be Visual Life. If you're aware, starting this year, starting in Feb, I guess, Feb or March, the policies for medical insurance at Takaful is going up a bit. I'm not sure how many percent. And I noticed that my annual contributions for my Takaful has increased, will increase few hundred ringgit, maybe 100 something or 200 ringgit more. Okay, so I'm not sure whether this Visual Life approach in subscription base can give alternative for some affordability, okay, especially for those who just started, subscribing to insurance or Takaful. Okay, there's another one here, Tune Protect. From the name Tune, it is part of the Tune groups, whereby Tune Group is owned by AirAsia, whereby the Tune Protect focuses on travel and lifestyle insurance. So usually when you travel using AirAsia, you can add on their insurance as well, especially their travel insurance, including to cover in terms of if you might lose your bag, your luggage, impact if there's delays or flight cancellations, what would be the impact to you in terms of the hotels, the subsequent travels, so you can have these protections if they take insurance. And this is quite easy because it's embedded together when you purchase your flight tickets. Instead of you have to purchase it separately, so Tune Protect will embed, okay, at the very end after you choose your flights, the destinations, the time, the add-ons in terms of the luggage, the meal, and lastly, nanti dia akan add, okay, do you want to add protections? Okay, so that's how the Tune Protect embed in their offerings. Okay, especially when you want to purchase the flight tickets of Asia. So the alternative to InsurTech is obviously the Takaful, okay, an Islamic insurance system based on mutual cooperation and shared responsibility as its foundation deeply rooted in Sharia principles. Okay, so Takaful has its own way how to give protections, shared protections, as compared to insurance, whereby if we talk about insurance in general, so insurance yang you bayar setiap bulan tu dipanggil premium. You pay premiums in insurance. And the premium that you paid will be used by the company, the insurance company, in a pool of funds. And the pool of funds will be invested. And the nature of protection is just if you suffer, suffer accidents, or if you to be hospitalized, if you house got burned from a fire, for example. So those are the perils or the coverage that you take. Okay, so the company will pay you. Okay, the money will comes from the company, whereby the company generates return from the premium that they generated, and the company will pay you based on that risk that you take insurance on. Okay, but for Takaful it's slightly different. Okay, they are using the system or the model whereby we have a group of people who will cover or will mutually cooperate in shared responsibility if one person suffers, like for example, car accidents. So everybody in the so-called in the pool will contribute to you. So it's more like money will be so-called donated by the participants instead of the company itself. Okay, the company is just managing the money, managing the funds, but the money comes from all the participants. Okay, that's why we don't pay premiums, we contribute if we take if we take Takaful. So the concept is slightly different, the model is slightly different. Okay, and we don't use interest in our Takaful. While InsurTech primarily focuses on leveraging technology to modernize conventional insurance, the integration of technology into Takaful adds unique dimensions, aligning obviously the digital transformation, but they have to comply with the ethical and the religious frameworks. Okay, not only to modernize the offerings, but to ensure when they modernize and digital transform their offerings, they have to ensure these new platforms, new offerings still comply with the ethical and religious frameworks. In this case, the Muslim faith, okay, using the Sharia frameworks. Okay, so these are the key features of Takaful in the technological era. Number one, Sharia compliant digital platforms to ensure all processes from the very beginning, okay, from the contributions of the participants to the settlements, everything must comply with the Sharia principles. Okay, the funds that the participants put in the fund, in the pool of funds, they have to ensure that the funds will be, invested in Sharia compliant investments only. Okay, and the technology supports Takaful by automating compliance checks, such as the elimination of haram activities in investment portfolios. This is also can be used as part of their investment activities to ensure that the investment comply just on the Sharia compliant instruments. Okay, smart contracts for transparency. Blockchain technologies enable smart contract to streamline Takaful operations, whereby it becomes more transparent in terms of the contributions from the participants and the payouts from the claims, and fair distribution of surplus. Okay, the Tabaruk fund among participants. Okay, as I said, Tabaruk is a form of donations. Okay, donations whereby everybody who participate will consider donate the funds to those who suffer. Okay, and obviously the funds will be invested, as I mentioned. If let's say for that particular month there's no claims, obviously the funds will be carried forward for the next month, and the funds will be becoming bigger and bigger when we have new participants, we have less claims, and the pools that they invest will generate income that can increase, the volume of the funds, and there will be some surplus. Okay, this surplus, when we talk about traditional insurance company, this surplus is belong to the insurance company alone, because this is technically their funds. They are the one who takes risks. Okay, but from Takaful point of view, the funds that they generated will be shared among the participants, number one, and obviously the company who manage it, the Takaful companies. So Takaful companies will take some portions of it because they are the one who manage the funds. Okay, but there will be some portion will be payback, distributed back to the participants. So by having these smart contracts, we can see much fair distributions, because it creates transparency in terms of how much money generated by the Takaful operators and how much will be taken by the Takaful operators in the form of operations, and they're gonna pass back the surplus back to participants. Okay, blockchain for ethical fund management. They can use this to for allocations of the funds just for the halal activities, and they can use AI as well for participant risk profiling. Okay. Mobile application for accessibility. We have even Takaful, the traditional companies like FWD, okay, Takaful, or whereby they focusing more on digital services. Okay, and they might use digital platforms to adapt to P2P models for Takaful, whereby they reinforce the principle of mutual cooperations and financial inclusion. Okay, so to make comparison between Takaful Tech and InsurTech for the underlying principle, obviously when we talk about Takaful Tech, okay, Takaful operators who are using technologies must be Sharia compliant and mutual assistance and ethical financing, whereby conventional insurance focusing more on risk transfer. Okay, whereby those who take InsurTech or insurance in general, using this to transfer their risk by taking insurance, pay premiums, and if anything bad happens to him or her, they're gonna transfer to the insurance company. Okay, but for Takaful, they are more like a mutual cooperation, mutual assistance. So meaning if we participate in the pool of funds, and if one person suffers, everybody will contribute, will donate, so-called using the tabaruk concept just now. Okay, the core focus for Takaful is mutual resharing and ethical investment, whereas insurance company or InsurTech focus on profit orientation, okay, and focus on personalization. The third difference would be technological integration. They tailor to comply or to follow the technology implementation, but they have to comply and align with Islamic principles. Okay, for InsurTech, they leverage on AI, IoT, blockchain, and for more efficiency and scalability. The market focus, Takaful primarily target Muslim majority markets, but it opened up to everybody. Okay, appeals to ethical investors, because when we talk about Takaful, the investment must be ethical in a way, and also obviously must be Sharia compliant. Okay, so it appealed to some other groups who are not Muslim even. But for InsurTech, they focus on all demographics and all risk profiles. So for InsurTech, they try to cater for everybody. Okay, but bear in mind, the nature of the operations might involve elements that can be considered prohibited in Muslims' point of view. Transparency, blockchain ensures halal investment and tabaruk fund transparent. Blockchain ensures efficiency and fraud reduction, but not inherently tied to ethical point of view from InsurTech's. Okay, maybe in terms of profit sharing, participants share surplus, if any. Okay, as I mentioned, when we talk about takaful funds, they're going to invest your money, okay, and the profit will be shared. So obviously there will be some surplus will be passed back to you. Just for a few comparison, if you take insurance or specifically car insurance, for example, if you don't claims for that particular year, okay, you will not receive anything as car insurance. So what benefits you will get if you don't claim? You're going to increase your non-claim bonus or non-claim discount, NCD or NCB. Okay. And they're going to have a cap maximum of 55%. So they can start from zero. So if you tak claim, dia akan naikkan lah 0 to 10 up to maximum of 55%. Okay, after a few years, bila you tak claim, you're gonna have a maximum of 55%. And this NCD can be transferred to a new car, for example, because the NCD tie back to your name and to your car lah. So if you have two cars, you have to maintain two separate NCDs. Okay, and these two cars can be transferred to two new cars. Okay, and then they akan transfer lah the NCDs. Okay, that's the only thing that you can get when you don't claim untuk car insurance. But for car takaful, you still have that NCDs and NCBs as well, whereby you have the maximum of 55%, but you can enjoy this share surplus. So kalau tahun tu you tak claim, maknanya you tak accident, you don't have any claims. Okay, the takaful companies, takaful operators will pay back or share with you the surplus. Usually can be in few hundreds ringgit. Okay, better than insurance that you get nothing, for example. So that's one of the key difference juga lah between takaful and insurance. Okay, in terms of profit sharing, participant will receive their shares, but for insurance company, the profits that they generated will belongs to the companies and the shareholders sahaja lah. And in terms of the social impact, Takaful Tech promotes financial inclusion and aligns with ethical financing together with the Sharia compliance. For InsurTech's focus on innovation and customer-centric solutions. Okay, so that's the future and also what gonna be, the trend in the coming future for financial services. Okay, and when we talk about financial services, it includes insurance, specifically InsurTech lah. Okay, so next we have BankTech. Okay, technology for banks specifically. So majority of when we talk about fintech, mostly revolve around banks. Okay, whereby banking technology represent the integration of advanced digital tools into traditional banking system, enabling innovative services, improve efficiency, and enhance customer experiences. Okay, so number one, transition from traditional banking to tech integrated models. Okay, we are not talking about only digital only banks. We are talking about the traditional banks who now have to transform into a hybrid. I can say a hybrid model whereby they still have branches, but they have, elements of digital in their offerings. Includes the digitalizations of loan management, application of financing, 24/7 customer service, access of services without having to go to their physical branch. Okay, so traditional banks are increasingly collaborating with fintech firms to adopt new technologies in order to remain competitive in this fast changing market. Because when we have this so-called traditional, or sorry, the digital or the digitalizations of system, loyalty is one of the things that can be a main issue because people can switch to other companies very easily. Okay, so kalau dia pergi kat bank A, tengok, bank A ni tak ada this offering, they switch to other banks easily. Okay, so this is one of the key areas that they have to be careful as to how to maintain, how to make their customer loyal. Okay. So number two, the rise of digital-only banks. Okay, so the digital-only banks, or also known as neobanks, operate entirely online, eliminating the needs for physical branches who can be costly. And the bank leverages on technology to offer lower fees, faster transactions, and user-friendly interfaces. So here kita dah discuss, I think in topic 3 or 4, whereby we have this GX Bank, okay, whereby it's partly owned by Grab, that focus on micro savings account and user-centric digital services. And we have the first Islamic digital bank, Eon Digital Banks lah. Integrate Sharia principle with advanced technology. Okay, so digital-only banks cater particularly well to younger demographics who prefer mobile-first and app-based banking experiences. Okay, since that topic yang I cakap nak try, until now I still don't have the opportunity. Perhaps maybe lah, maybe next week or next month ke, maybe I can try to experience myself nak buka Eon Digital Bank ni. Okay, and I will share with you lah kalau ada masa nanti. Okay, technologies driving Fintech. Okay, this is quite similar to the ones we've discussed before in terms of blockchain, AI, and cloud computing. And for the future trends, the implementation of biometric security enhancement. Okay, maybe I can share one of the things when we talk about biometric and security enhancement. Memang kita nampak it will be easier. Okay, but one downside of this biometric security semua ni yang digital, okay, it's easy to use. It's very much easy to use. And bila kita nak register pun quite easy for the first time lah. Tapi the painful part would be if you want to change your device. Okay, just to share my experience, bila kita tukar new device, it's not as easy as we set it up. One good thing about it is for security reason lah. So dia akan buat macam-macam steps in order to protect orang, instead of katakanlah kalau orang curi your mobile device or either lost or stolen and orang jumpa and orang curi your device, instead of easily allow them to change users, okay, change device, dia akan set up a few blocks ataupun few checkpoints lah. Pertama, contohnya if you want to swap device with your mobile account, contohnya mobile app lah of one bank, katakanlah bank A. So you nak tukar device saja, walaupun genuine to tukar device, dia akan bagi you satu problem, bukan problem lah, maknanya satu checkpoint pertama. Okay, you kena uninstall, maknanya you kena remove your account from the old phone first. Okay, kalau you tak buat benda tu, you have to call the contact center untuk deactivate the old phones with the new phones. Kalau you tak buat manually lah, so nak call contact center sometimes take a while. That's checkpoint number 1. So bila you dah buat tu, dah katakanlah remove from the old phones and then you log in with your new phone, dia akan suruh you activate the new phones again. And nak activate ni, you kena guna your ATM card and go to the ATM, the nearest ATM lah, untuk activate. Okay, tu dah second point. Bila dah activate, dia ada cool off period. Cool off period ni dia bagi selalunya 12 ke 18 jam, 12 to 18 hours. Okay, so that 12 and 18 hours, you still cannot use your new apps tadi lah. So altogether, transitions from the old phones to new phones, it will take you, okay, you can say almost 2 days lah kalau you nak kira. Give 2 days or 3 days, baru you boleh transfer the system that you use from the old phones to the new phones. Okay, so in a way it's good for you. Maknanya you have time, kalau phone you kena curi, you have time untuk block you call the call center, kata, okay, my phones dah kena curi, I want to block. So dia bagi masa lah. Okay, cuma yeah, that's the price you have to pay when we have this technology. Okay, it's very easy to use, tapi bila dia ada, you know, this kind of issues, ataupun you want to swap device, obviously, because after a few years, you might want to upgrade your device, kan? So yeah, that's one of the things yang kita mungkin tak nampak. Memang dia akan enhance security, tapi the downside of it will take some time. Okay, but that not happen on daily basis. This maybe happens 4 or 5 years once bila you change your mobile device. Okay, and in terms of opportunities and challenges, Fintech creates avenues for improved operational efficiency, customer engagement, market expansion, particularly in the underserved areas. And the rapid pace of digital transformation brings challenges such as regulatory compliance, data security, and managing the technological skills gap within the banking organization. Okay, bear in mind when we talk about organizations, dia bukan semua young generation dalam tu. Okay, we have from the fresh graduates until the seniors ones dalam that banking organizations. And obviously, there will be some gaps. Okay, kalau sebelum ni gaps selalunya based on experience. When we talk about fresh grads dengan the seniors, obviously akan ada experience gap. Okay, yang fresh grad ni mungkin tak cukup experience lah. Okay, but now on top of the experience gap, we have this technological gap, and perhaps the newer ones yang masuk mungkin have this technology know-how better than those in the company, in the existing company lah, in the existing organization. So there has some gaps as well. So these are the challenges that the management needs to take action. Maybe kena hantar training lah. Okay, send a lot of trainings to their staff in order to improve their technological knowledge, in order to reduce the gap between those with high technological knowledge and compared those with lower technological knowledge, in order to reduce the gap. And from a global and Malaysian context, Fintech is redefining banking with innovations. For example, contactless payments using IoTs, digital wallets, and AI chatbots. Okay, this one we've discussed a lot in the earlier topics. In Malaysia, initiatives such as launch of Islamic digital banks and advancements of Do It Now ecosystem highlight the country's proactive approach to integrating technology into banking. Do It Now ni very synonymous with our QR system lah, QR code when we do remittance or digital payments using e-wallets, mobile banking. So we use a standardized Do It Now ecosystem, okay, for transferring money from one person to another lah. Okay, so let's take a 5 minutes break before we move on to the end of the section, which is the Islamic Fintech, tapi dia agak panjang sikit lah. Okay, let's take a short break. Okay, let's move on with the next section, Islamic Fintech. Okay, Islamic Fintech, Islamic financial technology. So Islamic Fintech represents a transformative convergence of financial technology and Sharia compliant principles. It's quite similar like where we discussed about takaful technology earlier, whereby it offers innovative solutions that cater to the ethical and religious requirements of Muslim consumers and also businesses. But bear in mind when we talk about Islamic, not only Islamic Fintech, anything relating to Islamic finance, Islamic insurance, takaful, and so on, it's not only meant for Muslims. It can be, used by everybody, okay? Especially those who prefer more ethical, so-called solutions, okay? So this burgeoning field is gaining traction globally, driven by advancements in technology and growing demand for halal financial services. Okay, even though in statistics, if you want to see the values of assets between the conventional versus Islamic in finance especially, still dominated by conventionals. But again, the growth is actually last time I checked is almost double digit every single year. Okay, so not sure in projections, perhaps somewhere in the future, there's a possibility the value can be even maybe in the future. So these would be the principles of Islamic finance when we talk about Islamic financial services. The key element that we gonna understand, we have to understand is actually is the concept of whereby the human being or humankind are not the absolute owner of any resources, any assets. We believe that the assets that we own here now in the world is just like it's a responsibility. Okay, it is entrusted to you for you to safekeep, and you can use it while you're here in the world, and for the usage for the betterment of mankind. Okay, and we are not the absolute owner of the assets or of resources. Okay, we just entrusted. We are just given the responsibility. Okay, even you just that's why the concept of uh, human and not the absolute owner is known as the concept of istiqlaf, whereby human is accountable to Allah for his conduct in this world. Okay, we have to manage our wealth in a way that promotes justice, and we have to divert ourselves or try to go away from any activities that are considered prohibited. Okay, from Islamic point of view. Okay, so that's why even though for very rich people, you have to remember that the wealth is not absolutely yours. Okay, you are the ones who given responsibility to manage it, help others. Okay, that's why the concept of promoting justice, social justice, is important. And if you see that way, then you know and you more appreciate the wealth that you have, and you try to help others whenever you can. Okay, so Islam allows a free market economy where supply and demand will decide in the market, but at the same time imposing specific laws that promote social justice. So the specific laws here, one of the example is the concept of alms giving. Alms giving uh, is quite similar like zakat. Okay, whereby as a Muslim, for example, the incomes you generate, the wealth that you have, the savings that you have, the properties that you have, the gold that you have, there's a portion of it that you have to pay zakat. Okay, in general, the rate is about 2.5%. But when we talk about, I think you've learned this in zakat and tax planning as well, whereby there's some calculation if we talk about income, for example. This is quite similar like tax, whereby there are some so-called relief that you are allowed to remove or reduce from your income, and the remaining 2.5% of it you have to pay zakat, for example. And this money will be managed by Batul Mal, by the religious authority based on the states, and they're gonna distribute this to all the all the asnafs or all the participants or parties who are eligible to get zakat funds. Okay, and if a Muslim meets certain criteria, it is an obligation. It is not an act of bagi apa? It's not open to case basis. No, it is a compulsory obligation if you meet certain criteria. So meaning if selalunya dia akan tengok dua benda kan, satu hall, satu lagi dah tengok the value tu dah sampai dia punya tahap tu ataupun tidak. Okay, and if you don't if you categorize as asnaf, for example, you don't have to pay zakat, but you will receive zakat. Okay, so that's some criteria that you have to go through. So the core concept of Islamic finance is these 5 Sharia rules. Okay, number one, this prohibition of riba. Okay, prohibition of interest. Okay, there's no element of interest in transactions. Alternatively, instead of uh, implementing riba in transactions, we can use by means trading and commerce, meaning buying and selling. Okay, so instead of imposing interest in transactions, the alternative route is using buy, or like I said, buying and selling of transactions. Okay, number three, avoidance of excessive qarar. Okay, qarar here means ambiguities, meaning there's no element of misleading or misconceptions or hiding information in contractual agreements. Everything must be transparent as possible. Okay. Number four, prohibition of maisir or gambling. Okay, so in fact, the three elements tadi lah, riba, qarar, and maisir is not permissible in transactions. And the last one is prohibition of conducting business involving impure commodities. So impure ni includes alcoholic beverages, liquor, for example, pork-related products, okay, gambling together dalam ni jugalah, involving impure commodities. So why riba or interest prohibited? Okay, I will not talk into detail in terms of the types of riba, types of interest, and so on, but just to put in perspective why interest is prohibited from Muslims' point of view. So in Muslims' faith, we believe that charging of interest is unjust, is unfair to both the lender and the borrower. Okay, so it is an injustice to the borrowers and they have to repay their debts irrespective of their financial situation and the outcome of their business venture. Okay, meaning as a borrower, you have to pay extra. Okay, you have to pay extra at the very beginning. So meaning, let's say if you want to borrow 10,000 ringgit, okay, the lender will post or impose interest in the debts. Okay, saying, okay, 10% you have to pay extra. So meaning if 10,000, 10% of it, you have to pay 1,000 extra. Okay. And you have to repay regardless of your financial situations. Even though you lose your money, you have to pay, for example. And if you don't pay on time, you might have to pay penalties. So that's double riba, double interest. And so similarly, in case where the return on investment is much higher than the interest rate that you charge, from the lender's perspective, interest-based contracts are similarly unjust to the lenders, whereby the lenders might get higher returns if they invest in other place, for example. So those are the reasons or the justification why interest is prohibited. Okay, but just to be clear, from lenders' point of view, they cannot charge interest, meaning when they give out loans to the borrowers, they cannot charge or impose any interest either at first, meaning at the very beginning of the contract, or whenever there's a default. Tak boleh. Okay, tak dibenarkan lah. But from borrower's point of view, okay, borrower's point of view, you can pay extra. Okay, you can pay extra. So meaning you borrow money from somebody, 10,000 ringgit, the lender will not charge or impose any interest. They just said, okay, please pay back 10,000 ringgit in 3 months' time, for example. Okay, comes 3 months, when you want to pay, you can pay 10,000, no issues, but you are actually encouraged to pay more. You are encouraged to pay more as a form of macam hutang budi lah, ataupun it's a form of gratitude towards the goods that the borrowers, the lenders give you the funds before. So you are allowed to pay more. So meaning katakanlah you pinjam 10,000, okay, the lender tak suruh bayar you extra pun, but bila 3 months later, you decided to pay more as a form of gratitude. Okay, that's allowed. Okay, in fact, they are encouraged to do that. Okay, tapi dengan syarat, the add-ons tu is not imposed at the very beginning. It's not part of the contract. Okay, it is based on free will of the borrower. So borrower yang nak bagi, it's not compulsory. Okay, and if the borrower decided just to pay back 10,000 pun, is fine. Okay, cuma we are encouraged to pay more as a form of gratitude. That's it. Okay, but very clear lah, tak boleh impose at the very beginning, or else that will be considered as riba lah, or interest. Because interest is try to abolish the injustice. Okay, so therefore, they kena free will. Okay. Second element just now is the prohibition of excessive gharar, or what is gharar at the first place. So gharar literally means deceit, fraud, or uncertainty. Okay, but when we talk about the technical definitions, when we talk about gharar in the context of Islamic transactions, it is in a form of uncertainty or ignorance of both parties, or even one party, in a contract over a substance or attributes of the object of sales, doubt over the existence and the availability of at the time of the contract. So meaning, if you want to sell something, for example, the specifications, the weight, the volumes, the colors, the size, everything must be clear, must be transparent, number one. Okay, so you cannot hide. If there's something wrong with the products, as far as you know, you have to declare, and you have to make it transparent. Okay, because kalau you try to hide or try to conceal some information, this masuk dalam gharar element, whereby you try to hide some information. Contohnya kalau you nak jual kereta lah contohnya, so you want to sell your car to a second hand punya car dealer, for example, ataupun you sell straight away to another possible buyer. Okay, you tahu kereta you something wrong, tapi you tak declare, contohnya lah. Okay, so that's part of gharar kat sini. And another thing when we talk about gharar is the existence. So what in the Islamic contract, the product that you want to sell supposed to exist during the contract. Benda tu kena wujud. Okay, but with some exceptions. There are some exceptions that we're going to see later on, because gharar will be split into two. Okay, a slight gharar, okay, ataupun a minor gharar, and then we have the excessive gharar, okay, ataupun the major gharar. Okay, the minor gharar is called gharar yasir. Okay, whereas we have another gharar is called major gharar, which is gharar fahish. And between the two, the ones that cannot be tolerated and cannot be accepted in the Islamic contract is the gharar fahish, or the major gharar. Okay, whereby this gharar is so great and it becomes unacceptable, and usually it relates directly with the buyer and seller assets price of contract, because this buyer-seller asset price and contract are the essential elements in the Islamic contracts. So, for example, if there's element of conceal of information relating to the asset or the products that you want to sell, automatically you become haram. Okay. In terms of the price, masa nak beli barang, dia tak letak harga. Okay, when you agree, tiba-tiba baru dia beritahu harga, and the price is so excessive than the ones that you want to pay, contohnya lah. So that's also element of gharar. And sometimes this gharar happens on our daily lives, on daily basis, and sometimes kita tak sedar. Okay, so we have to be careful on this matter lah, because when we talk about gharar, it must be transparent. Bila kita dah agree upon all of the matters, then baru kita boleh proceed dengan transactions. Okay, but we have another element ataupun another type of gharar, which is gharar yasir, or minor gharar, whereby this minor gharar are considered permissible and valid the Islamic contract. Okay, so gharar fahish automatically reject, tapi gharar gharar yasir can be considered okay or permissible. And gharar, unlike riba, okay, riba tu, regardless, even RM1, even 10 cents pun dah consider prohibited. Okay, when we talk about riba. Tapi gharar still kita pecahkan kepada dua lah. Okay, minor or major. right? And the last element that are considered prohibited and not permissible in Islamic contracts are gambling or maisir. So gambling or maisir, or also known as khimar, is defined as any activity which involves betting whereby the winner will take the entire bet and the loser will lose his bet. So the concept is basically the element of um, one person may take all, whereas the other person might lose money. Okay, the games of pure chance, where any party might gain at the expense of the loss of the other party. So benda ni tak boleh ada lah dalam transactions. Contoh gambling in, kalau purely in casino, purely in slot machine tu semua memang tahu nampak gambling lah. Tapi there are some gambling yang mungkin you tak nampak gambling. Okay, but it's prevalent in the community. Okay, number one, if you go to amusement park whereby you have to pay to play the games. Okay, pay to play the games. After you play the game, kalau you tak menang, then you lose your money lah. Tapi if you win, you get the gift. You get the gift. And the gift tu datang daripada duit orang yang membeli ataupun bayar for the game. So that is actually gambling. Satu lagi, machines, panggil apa lah benda tu? Machine yang in some malls pun ada, whereby there's a claw machine kan, tahu kan? Claw machine where you put RM1 or whatever ringgit in the machines, and then you play with the claw machine and then try to grab. Either sometimes ada teddy bear lah, ada sometimes a box of mobile phones lah. Okay, so that is actually gambling as well sebenarnya. Sebab you might lose money sebab you bayar. Okay, tapi kalau you tak menang, your RM1, RM2, RM3 burn kan. And the other person yang main and dapat. And consider winner lah kat situ. Okay, there's a winner and loser. So yang masuk duit, habis duit dia sebab dia dah masuk machine tu with zero return. Tapi the other party masuk duit but get prizes. So that is actually gambling as well. Okay, so just be careful lah. Right. So Sharia compliant digital revolutions, whereby financial technologies meet the Sharia principles. Okay, this one kita dah discuss, whereby the Islamic Fintech embrace the financial technologies. Okay, embrace the changes, but ensure at the same time that the prohibition of interest, excessive uncertainty, gambling, and unethical investment will be avoided. This to ensure that financial activities promote risk-sharing, fairness, and social justice, embodying the values of transparency and accountability in every transactions. So the Islamic fintech sector is witnessing rapid growth with innovative platforms and solutions emerging across the globe. Not only in Malaysia, you can see in a lot parts of the world, including the Middle East, obviously, and then even in the Western world, the Europe, especially in the UK, in Germany, in France, they also have this Sharia compliant fintech sector emerging as well. Okay, especially in the UK, I can see, because there's a lot of Muslims in UK as well. Even though it's not huge in percentage, but at least 2-3 millions of Muslims in the UK. Okay, and most of them were former immigrants, and most of them are businessmen. Okay, so they are sometimes they have more income as compared to the locals there. Okay, but anyway, we have here digital zakat and wakaf platforms, whereby platform leverage technology to streamline the collection and distribution of zakat, charitable alms giving, as I mentioned, and wakaf. Okay, every zakat and wakaf agencies in the country. Okay, sebab zakat wakaf is under the purview of states. Okay, setiap negeri ada dia punya ni. For example, in Perak, Majlis Agama Islam. Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Melayu Perak. And then we have Selangor, we have Lembaga Zakat Selangor that manage the funds, Lembaga Zakat Perak, Lembaga Zakat Wilayah Persekutuan and so on. So those are the agencies that are collecting the zakat, and at the same time they will distribute the zakat to the asnaf, to those who are eligible to get the funds. Okay, so the collection is very straightforward nowadays, mostly can be done online. And in fact, they integrate in mobile wallets as well, digital wallets as well. Again, kalau you tengok dalam Tashengo, if I'm not mistaken, there's a zakat section that you can use in order for you to make zakat payment. Let's see, I used to see it somewhere. Macam tak perasan kat mana. There's a easy korban there. There's a easy korban is a that you can use during Idul Adha, whereby Muslims are encouraged to do a sacrifice, for example, so they can streamline again the Sharia compliant into the digital revolution. Okay, so sama juga dengan wakaf. Even in UPSI, in our university, this zakat and wakaf falls under the jurisdiction of visas, wakaf, endowment, zakat, and sadaqah. Punya apa lagi ya, unit jabatan or something, department Okay, so staff apa, can take salary deductions to put in visas, and visas has a fund, and the fund will be channeled to those who needs the money. Student yang perlu ada masalah kewangan can go to visas, for example. And visas, one of the thing that contribute a lot in our faculty. If you notice ataupun if you realize, there's one program, okay, diploma lah, tapi diploma in entrepreneurship, whereby the group of students, 20 of them, were inmates. They were inmates ni maknanya dia dalam penjara. Okay, they study in the jail, in the cell, in the prison. Okay, diploma in entrepreneurship, 100% face to face. Dia bukan online face to face, meaning lecturers have to go to inside the prison to teach them, 20 of them for the first cohort, and they just graduated November last year. So meaning 2 months ago. Okay, masa graduation 2 bulan lepas, November, they received their diploma already. Okay, and the fund for, funding the first cohort was from visas. Okay, it comes from the money lah, from the zakat and the wakaf that in our case comes from either the staff, then it can be from agencies from outside as well lah yang nak donate to us. Ada sometimes ada agency yang luar juga. And because of that success stories, okay, we now have corporates who are interested to to participate and donate dalam sponsoring the next cohort. So cohort kedua untuk this diploma in entrepreneurship yang dalam penjara, I think we'll run somewhere next month kot. This month tak sempat. So next month, sebab dia punya semester tu tak sama macam mainstream macam kita ni. Okay, macam Malacca, the next semester will be in March. Kan? I know you guys yang semester 7 ni akan start your internship earlier lah. Okay, but for those yang the rest, start in March untuk semester. Tapi untuk yang penjara ni, their semesters can start, kita boleh cater lah, kita boleh tailor made And they don't have long breaks. They don't have semester cuti semester yang panjang tu. Because they are in jail anyway, so dia akan break kejap and then dia akan continue. So that's why they can finish the study earlier. I think 2 years kot 1.5 years, 2 years boleh habiskan dia punya diploma. And their results are not that bad at all. They are very bright students. Okay, SPM 9A, 10A kadang-kadang. But they made the wrong decisions and end up in the jail. So this is a way to give them second chance lah. So this is the money coming from yang masa first cohort ni lah datang daripada zakat and wakaf. Okay. And halal investment solutions platform like Wahid Invest, for example, provide Sharia compliant investment opportunities, whereby Wahid is a robo advisory that allocates funds into halal portfolios. Okay, and this is becoming more popular nowadays, especially those yang demand for ethical and faith-based financial products. Okay, smart contracts, they are particularly useful in implementing the Mudharabah and Musyarakah contract. So Mudharabah is a profit sharing partnerships whereby we have two parties. When we talk about Mudharabah, we have the capital provider, those who provide the funds, and the ones who run the business or the ones who run the investment. We call them the Mudharib, okay, or the entrepreneur. Okay. So when the joint venture or the partnerships gain profit, for example, the profit will be shared. Okay, the profit will be shared. But when there's a loss in the partnership, the ones who are going to suffer will be the capital provider. So that's Mudharabah. But for Musyarakah, it is a joint ventures, and they're going to share both profits and losses. Okay, unlike Mudharabah, Musyarakah, they can share both profits and also losses. Okay, so these smart contracts can implement these two equity-based contracts quite easily, and they can precisely track and ensure that the contract is adhere to the terms without intermediaries. So dia tak perlukan orang tengah lah. So everything can be done automatically using smart contracts. Okay, they can use blockchain for zakat distributions and AI as well to check the compliancy of the Sharia principles using the Islamic banking apps, for example. Okay, there's a lot of opportunities. All the technologies behind it can be used as part of the Islamic Fintech bandwagon. Okay, dia boleh integrate AI, they can use IoT for Islamic banks. Okay, IoT ni mungkin tak secanggih yang kita bayangkan, tapi in the mosque nowadays you can donate using QR code. Okay, cuma belum ada device yang boleh gunakan digital device untuk buat transfer je lagi. Still we have to use QR lah. Instead of we give cash, now we can make transfers. So belum ada lagi sampai satu tahap dia ada device yang dia letak kat situ that we can transfer using our digital device yang guna Apple Pay ke Google Pay ke whatnot. To something that can be happening in the near future perhaps, especially in the certain area lah. Okay, and cross-border collaborations between two different companies from two different regions, for example, that can induce the halal trade financing, cross-border Islamic crowdfunding, and so on. Okay, countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Indonesia are emerging as leaders in Islamic fintech because, number one, because the geographical area is huge. Indonesia, for example, population ni berapa ratus juta kan. So they have this opportunity, but Indonesia, downside of it, perhaps in terms of the funds lah. Tapi when we talk about funds or wealth, countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, those in the Middle East, ada a lot of funds. So therefore, they becoming leaders in terms of the users, and obviously with the government-backed initiatives, driving innovation and adoption. So the global Islamic economy is expected to reach almost 5 million, 5 trillion ringgit by last year, 2024, providing fertile ground for Islamic fintech to thrive. So Malaysia is a pioneer. Walaupun Malaysia in terms of size maybe smaller as compared to those in Indonesia, in Saudi Arabia. Okay, mungkin negara kita tak besar in terms of size. And in terms of the wealth, mungkin juga kita kurang daripada in the Middle East. But we are actually one of the leaders when we talk about Islamic finance lah. And from fintech point of view, we are also can be considered as the front runner or the pioneer, especially with the support of the government, with a very strong regulatory framework set up by Bank Negara, Ministry of Finance punya roles in introducing the guidelines. And this supportive ecosystem menyebabkan Malaysia is very, very open to this so-called Islamic fintech lah. And besides Bank Negara, obviously we have Securities Commission. They also introduced guidelines for Islamic digital crowdfunding that we've discussed before. And Bank Negara Malaysia is exploring blockchain-based solutions for Islamic banks. So both regulators, I can say, the SC and Bank Negara Malaysia, both under Ministry of Finance in Malaysia, always, keep up with the changes and introducing a lot of guidelines whenever there's a new technology, new so-called fintech products, so that we here in Malaysia is not left behind with regards to Islamic fintech. Islamic fintech can bridge the gap between the underserved Muslim populations and access to modern financial services, and it also appeals to non-Muslim. Okay, I cannot stress more that when we talk about Islamic fintech, it's not only meant for Muslim, it's meant for everybody, especially, as I said, those who have very conscious about socially responsible, ethical kind of investment. Okay, who are not expose themselves with interest or riba, which, like I said, is considered as unjust. Sorry. Okay, but the main challenges would be in terms of the interpretation of Sharia, because for Muslims, perhaps they're aware that we have a few school of thoughts. Okay, even Christians, they have their school of thoughts differently. For Christian, they have Orthodox, they have Catholic, they have Protestant, and so on. They have a lot of school of thought, Jehovah's Witness, and so on. Okay, but for Muslim, they have a few school of thoughts, even though directly they have Sunni and Shia, and then under Sunni they have, pecahan lagi. But when we talk about Sunni, they have different school of thought and they have different interpretations of Sharia. Okay, even though there's a different school of thought, we usually embrace the difference. Okay, and in order for us to remain competitive with offering products in overseas, especially in a different area that has different school of thoughts, we try to offer products that can be appealing to everybody. Okay, just one example. Initially, last time, when we just started our Islamic banks in the early 1980s, 1990s, a lot of our products are based on Buy Bersama Ajil, BBA contracts. And also another contract that was popular before is by Al-Ina. Okay, sell and buy back contract. And these two contracts are considered controversial because here in Malaysia, it is considered harus or permissible. Okay, but in the Middle East, these two contracts are not being used because they claim that this is not ethical and it's not considered Islamic enough. Okay, so this is how these opportunities and challenges make the local authorities, the local companies have to enhance their offering. So dia kena ubah lah. Okay, BBA dengan Bayang Inah, the Middle East tak iktiraf. So what they do, they have to innovate, come out dengan contract yang lebih Muslim friendly across the world, And therefore, these two contracts now being phased out. I think most of the bank dah tak pakai lah BBA, and also buy out in their contract. Sama ada dalam phone financing ke, credit cards ke. So semua dia dah ubah to a more universally accepted contract. So this is where the interpretation of Syariah, the difference of interpretation ni plays a role juga lah. So you have to balance the innovation and robust regulatory oversight to maintain trust and transparency. Okay, dah 10 minit lagi ni. One of the key areas of Islamic Fintech, okay, kita tak sempat discuss in the earlier topics, is IAP, Islamic Account Platform. Okay, so this is one of the initiatives set up in Malaysia, offering Sharia compliant alternative for investment and financing. Remember earlier when we talked about digital banks, whereby kita cut out, bukan digital bank, saya tak ingat. It's a platform lah, whereby if you want to borrow money, okay, kita gunakan platform ni, whereby they cut out middleman. Okay, cuma platform tu dia memang fokus on that macam crowdfunding lah basically. Okay, but here in Malaysia in 2016, under the guidance of Bank Negara Malaysia, we have 6 Islamic banks collaborated to launch IAP, Islamic Account Platform. So dia quite similar macam crowdfunding tu juga, design whereby dia akan mempertemukan those with surplus of fund dengan those yang deficit. So yang deficit obviously will go using IAP to raise funds, and those yang ada excess funds akan go to IAP untuk invest. And this IAP facilitate direct investment between investors and also the ventures. Okay, and the main difference is kalau crowdfunding tu dia akan managed by one platform. Contohnya sebelum ni kalau kita cerita pasal crowdfunding, kita ada Kickstarter kan, just one company. But here IAP is run by a consortium, and this consortium are traditional Islamic banks. Okay, ada 6 lah kalau tak salah ya. Dalam 6 tu ada Bank Islam, they have Maybank, dia ada BSN, ada few more lah, tak ingat, ada 6 kan in total. So the IAP is an online platform that connects investors directly with the viable business ventures, and they use the contract of Mudarabah and Musyarakah. Okay, and Mudarabah and Musyarakah, if you recall, I mentioned before, in the not conventional, maknanya in the Islamic banks, lending activities ataupun financing activities, they will not use Mudarabah and Musyarakah. Okay, but in IAP, they use this Mudarabah and Musyarakah, which is Mudarabah and Musyarakah technically is actually the core of equity-based contracts for Muslims sebenarnya. And the purpose is to promote financial inclusion, provide halal investment opportunities, and offer businesses and alternatives. Sebab businesses can use IAP ni untuk raise fund. Okay. So these are among the key features nanti you baca. So how to raise funds using IAP. So companies, we have to submit their applications online, and the Islamic Bank will follow up lah dengan your application. This is for company yang nak raise fund, yang nak dapatkan funding using IAP, and then Islamic Bank will conduct the due diligence. Dia akan buat all the credit checkings, screening, and check the venture yang dia nak apply tu, is it Sharia compliant ataupun tak, and then dia akan negotiate the terms and conditions. And then akan ada rating, because similar like bond issuance, crowdfunding, so the venture will be rated. Okay, and then number 5, Islamic banks to float the venture on IAP, so dia akan publish lah the venture in IAP. So those yang interested boleh tengok dalam IAP tu, and then siapa yang interested akan invest. Okay, and the Islamic bank yang pool the money akan disburse the funds upon successful fundraising. Okay, kalau untuk investment pula, you can register as IAP user, number 1, and then lepas you register, you dah boleh tengok lah all the projects that available in IAP. In IAP ni is basically all is already approved as a Sharia compliant. You boleh view, you boleh access, tengok the ventures. Kalau you think it's suitable with you, And then you boleh ni lah, you boleh invest. So nak buat investment tu, Islamic Bank will facilitate the payment. And then you're going to receive the report once in a while, periodical basis. And if there's any profit, you're going to receive it. And if you want to sell it off, you can receive your principal as well. So that's the concept of IAP. So this is an alternative from the traditional fixed deposits, savings account, whereby you can invest based on what you want, where you want your money to go, which kind of ventures you want to invest in. So you boleh pilih sendiri dalam IAP. Okay, so I think the rest ni nanti you kena baca dan nak habis ni. So in terms of cybersecurity, we've discussed this in the previous topics. Okay, and there are some solutions to it. Regulatory challenges, bridging digital and financial literacy gaps, ensure inclusivity, needs for ethical and sustainable practices. And as a conclusion, this is basically conclusion for the rest of the topics as well. It's not only evolving landscape, it's actually live now. Okay, fintech ni bukan something yang you akan bayangkan dia akan berlaku in the future. No, we are in this era now. Okay, so kalau you tak alert, you tak tahu pasal benda ni, you will be left behind lah. Okay, so you have to aware about this. You are actually now in this era. So the convergence between the technology and the finance will continue to drive innovation, okay, inclusivity, and also economic growth. Okay, so Islamic fintech pun, if from Malaysian perspective, will become a forefront juga of a digital revolution in the financial industry, defining how Sharia compliant products and services are delivered. By combining ethical principles with cutting-edge technology, it has the potential not only to empower the Muslim community, but also contribute to be more inclusive and sustainable global financial system. Okay, so these are among the key areas that we're gonna see now, the near future and beyond. All right, I think with that, that's the end of topic 7 and at the end of the syllabus as well. All right, so thank you very much. Any questions?
No.
Okay, so when is the exam? Untuk fintech ni bila exam dia? Ingat tak? I wrote it somewhere. Okay. The fintech. Kan based on my record sini 6 of Feb afternoon session. But anyway, all the best. I will be releasing your marks bit by bit. I release the quizzes the quizzes. Okay, but there's a lot of you yang tak complete for quizzes tu. Okay, that's why some of you dapat marks yang agak rendah. Because out of 4, mungkin jawab 1 quiz je ke, 2 quiz je ke. So that's why you get lower marks. Okay, I'm gonna releasing the group assignments and presentation really soon. And then obviously your midterm test juga lah. Midterm test you, to be honest, memang tak sempat nak mark. I will try to mark it by this week so that I can release it by the end of the week. All right. So thank you very much. Pukul 10 dah. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.